I gifted my stepdaughter, Kayla, a house, but she uninvited me from her wedding. Now, I'm taking back everything I gave. I, 62-year-old male, am dealing with a challenging situation with my stepdaughter. I have been married to her mother, Susan, for 15 years. My first wife, Fiona, died of cancer when I was 45. Fiona and I were high school sweethearts, married for 25 beautiful years. We never had children because of Fiona's health problems. After Fiona died, I was devastated and devoted myself to my career as a real estate developer. 3 years later, Susan and I met at a charity event. She was energetic, friendly, and had a 10-year-old daughter named Kayla. We hit it off right away, and I felt pulled to both of them. Susan had been suffering as a single mom. Ben, Kayla's biological father, left her when she was 2 years old. He'd come and go in their lives, but he never offered genuine support. I saw an opportunity to rediscover love and be the father figure Kayla needed. Kayla and I developed a close relationship over time. I assisted her with her homework, went to her school functions, and was present for every milestone. I paid for her college education so she may have every option in life. Kayla is now 25, and she is engaged to a nice young man named Mark. To show my support and affection, I decided to give them a house as a pre-wedding gift. It's a lovely home in a pleasant area, ideal for beginning their new life. However, when the wedding invitations arrived, I was astonished and extremely disappointed to learn that I was not invited. At first, I assumed it was a mistake. Surely, after all these years, Kayla would not remove me from her special day? I am at a loss. I've always treated Kayla like my own daughter, and I assumed she saw me as a parent. Now I'm wondering if I should take back the house I gave them. It's not about the money. I'm lucky that finances aren't an issue. It is the underlying principle. I feel misled and underappreciated. Am I overreacting? Should I confront Kayla about this, or simply accept her decision and move on, even if it means returning my gift? I recall when I first met Kayla, she was timid and apprehensive, hiding between Susan's legs, but she eventually opened up to me. I remember teaching her how to ride a bike and seeing the satisfaction in her eyes when she eventually balanced without training wheels. I was there on her first day of high school, reassuring her when she was concerned about fitting in. When she suffered her first heartbreak at 16, I was the one who sat with her, offering ice cream and a listening ear. We had our own traditions, too. Every Sunday, we had a family game night. Kayla insisted on playing the banker in Monopoly, and we would giggle at how serious she took her position. On her 18th birthday, I surprised her with a car, not fancy but dependable. The sight of utter excitement on her face when I handed her the keys is something I'll always remember. When Kayla was accepted to college, we celebrated as a family. I recall her hugging me firmly and whispering, "Thank you, Dad," into my ear. It was the first time she'd called me Dad, and it meant everything to me. All of these recollections make the current situation even more agonizing. How could she forget what we'd been through together? The thought of not being there on her wedding day, not leading her down the aisle, not having that father-daughter dance, is painful. I have always thought that family is more than just blood. It's about love, support, and sticking with each other through thick and thin. I assumed Kayla felt the same way. Now I'm doubting everything. Part of me wants to face her immediately and demand an explanation, but another part of me is scared of what I may hear. What if she claims she never truly saw me as a father? What if this is her way of letting me know I'm not family? I chatted to Susan about it, but she appears hesitant to get engaged. She thinks I should talk to Kayla directly, but how can I when she doesn't even answer my phone? The house I gave them was meant to represent my love and support for their new life together. Now it serves as a sad reminder of my exclusion from that existence. Taking it back feels petty, yet leaving it implies that I accept her decision to cut me off. I never imagined I would be in this position. When I married Susan and became a part of Kayla's life, I made a full commitment to becoming a father figure. For 15 years, I have loved her as if she were my own. It's crushing to watch something so readily discarded. Is it wrong for me to decide to take back the house? Is it inappropriate to seek recognition for the part I've played in her life? Should I just let her have her wedding, even if it means I won't be there? I'm torn and could need some outside perspective. Update 1. It has been a week since my last post, and I would like to provide an update on the situation. Thank you for your guidance and support. It's been a difficult period, and your feedback has been invaluable. After much thought, I decided to address Kayla about her choice to exclude me from the wedding. However, This turned out to be more challenging than I expected. Kayla appeared to be avoiding me. She did not return my calls or react to my texts. It was as if she had unexpectedly become a stranger. Frustrated and hurt, I looked to my wife, Susan, for answers. What she said left me stunned. Apparently, Kayla wishes to invite her biological father, Ben, to the wedding, the same man who abandoned her and Susan when she was a kid. Susan revealed that Kayla had been in contact with Ben for approximately a year. He unexpectedly reappeared in her life, claiming to have changed and wanted to make amends. According to Susan, Ben indicated a wish to be a part of Kayla's life again and to lead her down the aisle on her wedding day. I was stunned. For years, Ben had been nothing but a disappointment for Kayla. I remember the nights I spent comforting her after he broke yet another promise to visit. I was present for her first heartbreak, her high school graduation, and her college acceptance, all of the events Ben decided to miss. Ben's record as a father is far from impressive. He never paid child support, rarely showed up on birthdays or holidays, and appeared to be more concerned with his own life than with being a parent. I can't help but wonder what's behind his abrupt change of heart. The discovery that Kayla had been in covert communication with Ben for a year stung almost as much as being denied entry to the wedding. I assumed Kayla and I had a tight relationship, one in which she could come to me with anything. Finding out she had been keeping this from me for so long seemed like a betrayal. I'm attempting to grasp Kayla's point of view. I understand how great the need to have a relationship with one's biological parent might be, but after everything we've gone through together and all the love and support I've given her, how can she just abandon me? I recall one particular instance when Kayla was 14. Ben agreed to take her to a father-daughter dance at her school. Kayla was so excited that she spent weeks looking for the ideal dress. Ben did not show up for the dance, and there was no call or explanation. I found Kayla crying in her room, still dressed. Without hesitation, I dressed in a suit, and we headed to the dance together. We had a great time, and Kayla appeared to forget about Ben's absence that night. When I tucked her into bed, she hugged me and exclaimed, "You're the best dad ever." How could she forget things like this? There was also a moment when Kayla required braces. Ben had pledged to pay for them, but when the time arrived, he could not be found. I stepped in without hesitation to ensure Kayla received the necessary dental care. For 2 years, I drove her to every orthodontist visit, bought her ice cream after particularly difficult adjustments, and celebrated with her when the braces were finally removed. These recollections exacerbate the misery of the current circumstance. How can Kayla pick Ben over me after all we've been through? I've been present for every significant event in her life, whereas Ben has been nothing but a series of unfulfilled promises. I have concluded that I need to speak with Kayla personally. I cannot let this situation continue without confronting it head-on. I've sent her a message asking to meet, emphasizing that if she doesn't accept, I'll have to make some difficult decisions about my involvement in her life and the wedding gift. I'm hoping she agrees to meet. I need to comprehend her reasons and communicate how much her actions have wounded me. Am I wrong to seek this confrontation? Should I just let her have her wedding, even if it means I won't be there? As I await Kayla's reaction, I find myself reflecting on our connection. I remember spending hours in parking lots teaching her how to drive my old sedan. I remember the nights we spent working on her college applications and the pleasure I had when she was accepted to her ideal institution. I remember the day she moved into her dorm, hugging me farewell with tears in her eyes and murmuring, "I'm going to miss you, Dad." These recollections make her current acts even more perplexing. How can she so quickly abandon years of love and support? Is the pull of biology truly so powerful, or have I unintentionally failed her as a father figure? I'm also dealing with my feelings for Ben. Part of me is irritated with him for swooping in now, after years of absence, and upsetting our family dynamic. Another part of me is anxious about Kayla. What happens if he disappoints her again? Will I have to pick up the pieces once more? As I prepare to confront Kayla, I'm filled with mixed emotions. I'm hurt, furious, and bewildered, but deep down, I still love her. I want the best for her, but I also need to safeguard my emotions. I'll update after speaking with Kayla. Thank you for your ongoing support during this tough time. Update 2. Hello everyone. I'm here with another update on the situation with Kayla, my stepdaughter. A lot has transpired since my last post, and I'm still absorbing it. Kayla finally consented to meet with me following my ultimatum. We met in a neighborhood coffee shop, which provided a neutral setting for what I expected to be a difficult conversation. As soon as we sat down, I could sense shame in her eyes, but also a stubbornness I'd never seen before. I began by stating how saddened I was by her decision to exclude me from the wedding. I reminded her of the years we'd spent together and how I'd been there for her when Ben wasn't. I informed her, "Kayla, I have been there for you since you were 10 years old. I assisted you with your homework, taught you how to drive, and supported you throughout college. I have treated you like my own daughter. How can you push me aside now?" Kayla's remark shocked me. She said, "I know you've done a lot for me, and I appreciate it, but Ben is my true father. He wants to make things right, and I want to give him the opportunity." I couldn't believe what I heard. I questioned her. What about all the times he failed you? What about all those birthdays he missed? What about the child support that he never paid? Does none of this matter? She responded, "People may change. He is different today. He wants to be a part of my life." I could feel my anger mounting. I told her that it was I who had sponsored her education and been present at all of her life's major moments. And now that she was capable and established in her life, she wanted to ask the man who had abandoned her to lead her down the aisle. Kayla then dropped another shocker. She explained Ben has agreed to contribute to the wedding expenditures. He wants to take responsibility. That was the final straw for me. I told her, "Fine. If Ben wants to be your father now, let him accept all of the obligations that come with it. I will not be paying for anything related to this wedding, and the house I gifted you should also be considered off the table." Kayla's face fell. I could tell she had not expected this reaction. She attempted to backtrack, claiming she still wanted me in her life, just not at the wedding. But for me, the damage had already been done. I stood up to depart, but first, I told her, "Kayla, I have always considered you my daughter. I believed you felt the same way about me as your father. I suppose I was incorrect. I hope Ben meets your expectations this time." With that, I departed the coffee shop. The drive home was a haze. When I returned home, I informed Susan what had transpired. She was unhappy, but she acknowledged Kayla's wish to have her biological father in her life. She did, however, agree that Kayla's actions were both painful and unfair. I've subsequently called my lawyer to begin the process of reclaiming the house. It is not about the money, but about the principle. I can't, in good conscience, give such a valuable thing to someone who doesn't consider me family. As I ponder on our talk, I realize how much Kayla has changed. The stubborn young woman in the coffee shop appeared so unlike the tiny child who would run to me for comfort after a nightmare, or the adolescent who proudly showed me her first A+ on a difficult math test. I recall the day Kayla graduated from high school. As she came across the stage to receive her graduation, she smiled broadly and gave me a thumbs up. Later at her graduation party, she hugged me firmly and said, "I couldn't have done this without you, Dad." Where is that Kayla now? I can't help but think about how many times Ben has let Kayla down in the past. He had offered to take her camping for her 13th birthday, but then canceled at the last minute. I ended up bringing her instead, showing her how to pitch a tent and cook marshmallows over a campfire. Or the time he promised to help her move into her college dorm, but didn't show up. I was there, hauling boxes and helping her paint her new room. Now Ben swoops in with promises of transformation and financial assistance, and he's suddenly the father she wants by her side. It feels like a slap in the face after years of supporting her through thick and thin. Part of me worries if I'm being overly harsh. Should I be more accepting of Kayla's wish to establish a relationship with her biological father? But then I remember the pain in Susan's eyes when Ben abandoned them years ago, and how hard we fought to create a loving family. Kayla seemed to be throwing everything out on a whim. I understand that some people may think I'm being petty or overreacting by taking back the house and withholding financial support for the wedding, but from my standpoint, Kayla has made her decision. Despite our shared history, she chose Ben over me. It hurts, but I must protect myself emotionally and financially. Should I have been more accepting of Kayla's desire to reconcile with her biological father? I'm still conflicted, but I believe I need to stand my stance. I will provide an update if there are any notable developments. Thank you for your support and wisdom during this tough time. Update 3. Hello everyone. It's been 6 months since my last update, and I'd like to discuss what has transpired since then. A lot has changed, and I'm still coming to terms with it. Following the confrontation with Kayla, I followed through on my plan to take back the house and withdraw my financial assistance for the wedding. It was a hard time. Susan was caught between supporting her daughter and recognizing my pain. Our relationship deteriorated, and Susan eventually decided to leave temporarily to be with Kayla during the wedding preparations. The wedding proceeded as scheduled, with Ben leading Kayla down the aisle. I wasn't there, of course, but I heard about it through common friends. They described the ceremony as beautiful, but there was a palpable sense of anxiety. For a while, I didn't hear from Kayla or Susan. I immersed myself in my work, hoping to distract myself from the grief of losing my family. I will not lie, it was a lonely and tough period. Then, about a week ago, Susan called me. Her voice was shaky, and I knew she had been sobbing. She admitted, "We made a tremendous error. We are very sorry." Susan went on to relate what transpired following the wedding. Ben had stayed for almost a month, playing the doting father. He did provide some money to the wedding expenditures, as promised, but as the bills piled up and the reality of continued financial responsibility dawned on him, Ben began to remove himself. Ben vanished within 2 months after the wedding, like he had done years before. He stopped answering phones, avoided Kayla and Susan, and effectively disappeared from their lives once more. Kayla was devastated. She honestly believed Ben had changed and wanted to be a part of her life. The realization that he had let her down again, especially after she had put forth so much effort to include him, was painful. Susan explained that Kayla had been too embarrassed to contact me herself. She felt bad about how she had treated me and feared that I would not want to hear from her. Susan stated, "She sees what a mistake she made. She misses you so badly." I listened to Susan's remarks with mixed emotions. Part of me felt vindicated. I had been correct about Ben all along. However, a larger part of me felt melancholy. Kayla was sad because her biological father had let her down yet again. "I'm sorry for the anguish this has caused our family." I told Susan, "I appreciate you telling me this, but the damage is done. I can't just pretend the last 6 months haven't happened." Susan pleaded with me to rethink and give Kayla another opportunity, but I remained firm. I added, "I'm not saying I'll never forgive Kayla, but right now, I need some time." She made her decision, and now we all have to deal with the repercussions. We concluded the call on a melancholy tone. I told Susan she was free to return whenever she was ready, but I needed more time before I could consider recreating a connection with Kayla. As I sit here writing this final update, I am still absorbing everything that has transpired. Part of me wants to reach out to Kayla, soothe her, and assure her that everything will be fine, but a part of me is still hurting and resentful. I know some of you believe I'm being too harsh, that I should forgive and forget, but trust is a fragile thing that, once destroyed, is difficult to recover. I need time to heal, to choose whether and how I can move ahead from this. For now, I'm concentrating on myself. I'm seeing a therapist to work through my emotions, and I'm attempting to reconstruct my life without Kayla in it. It's not easy, but I think it's vital. Thank you for your continued support along this journey. Your suggestions and insights have been invaluable. I'm not sure what the future contains, but I'm preparing to confront it with bravery and dignity. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.